Hey everyone, this is alexusadays. So today we're continuing with mobile testing. We are finishing module 11. After that we will go into first work experience, how to get it, what to do when you start working as a QA engineer for the first time. After that we'll talk about team composition with you as a QA engineer in it, and we will have interview preparation. After that, that's it. We're done. Okay. So today's lesson we talk about a tool called Charles Proxy. Now, in this video, we will get basics of Charles Proxy and how to use it in testing. Charles Proxy is a tool for analyzing and troubleshooting communication between clients and servers. We will start with Chrome DevTools Refresher. Then we will install and configure Charles Proxy. We will install a certificate. We will enable SL Proxy. We will get familiar with the UI layout. And we will practice how to throttle traffic. We will look and understand on JSON payload verification, and we'll add breakpoints to intercept traffic and update request response. Now, essentially, Charles Proxy is a proxy server and sniffer that captures and allows analysis or editing of all network packets passing through your system. So you can see on this diagram, you access through the client, that might be your phone or a browser in your computer, you're trying to access server. Let's say you launch an app and the app is trying to access server. Now, instead of going directly to the server, it will be going through Charles Proxy. Inside the Charles Proxy, you can now analyze the traffic, you can edit it. The server will get edited traffic if you changed anything. Then the server going to send response back, and then again, instead of getting directly into your client, so into your phone or your browser, it will go through the proxy where you can actually update it. Okay? Some things that you might also see in here today that you might not be familiar is SSL. So SSL is a secure socket layer. It's a protocol for establishing secure links between network computers. So you'll have to enable SSL in order to be able to look inside the decoded traffic. So it is decoded if it goes through SSL. Another one is XML HTTP request or XHR. So those are objects that used to interact with the servers. The JSON will be inside an API request response, most likely within the XHR request. And then there's JSON itself, so it's JavaScript object notation. It's actually a lightweight data interchange format. So whenever you send information to the server, it's very likely that it might be sent within JSON format, and then the server can respond with that information also in JSON format. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's learn Charles Proxy. So we will start with developermozilla.org webpage that talks about JSON. I'll have a link for this in description, but JavaScript object notation JSON is a standard text-based format for represented structured data based on JavaScript object syntax. It is commonly used for transmitting data in the web applications. So if you go and right-click on this page and you go to Inspect, you will see DevTools. Now here is a network tab. Let's click on that. Now instead of all, let's fetch only XHR. So click on that and then let's reload the page. So once the page reloads, it sends another request to the server, gets all the information back from the server, and here we have the communication happening between the client and the server. We can see it in the network tab. For example, one of the requests here is who am I, right? If we look at it, goes to this endpoint. The request method is get, and we get back status 200, meaning everything okay. But what this request does, it requests information on the location of whoever is accessing the web page, right? And the response comes back and it says in this JSON payload, in this format, you can see it says country United States and then country ISO US, right? So this information is coming back from the server with information about the country. Now, you can test, look into the communication between server and client, if you have Chrome, you can go into DevTools, Open Network tab, and do that for web testing. Now, from mobile testing, you won't be able to do that. There's no way you can do that in mobile testing, right? Especially if you test an application. So how do you capture communication like that, right? What can you use? So instead of DevTools, you will use Charles Proxy, right? And that's what we're going to go and install right now. So let's go to charlesproxy.com. Here's the web page, and in the Charles Proxy web page, go ahead and click Download tab. Now, in this tab, there is multiple versions of Charles for different systems, so choose yours. We're going to install it on Windows. We're going to configure it for Windows. If you're on Mac, your installation process is going to be a little bit different, and configuration process is going to be a little bit different, but I'll have a link after this video that explains everything how to do it on Mac. Okay, so let's click on it and download Charles. Okay, and now let's install it. A pop-up comes, something like that. So click Next, agree to everything. Now Charles will, this is a trial version for 30 days. It will work for half an hour and then reset itself. You'll have to restart it. If you want to get paid version, you can pay it for it and get it, but most likely if you work for a company and you're going to use tools, the tools will be purchased, right? Okay, so trial version for us is enough. You don't actually have to buy anything because we're just getting familiar with the tool. So hit next here. During installation process, there might be a pop-up that's going to ask you, okay, do you want to trust this tool? Just press yes. We're finished here. Done. Good. Go to your search and just type Charles. You will see the app right here. Okay, let's run it. Start in Charles. Okay, and here we are in Charles. So nothing going on here. You can see it's already kind of having some traffic showing here. So Charles will have a couple things, right? It will have a structure, so it's going to be a whole structure of the page with everything in it, and it will have a sequence. So sequence is how requests are getting based on the timeline. Most likely you're going to work in the sequence all the time, and in order to get specific requests, you can use filter and you can search for specific names or web pages to display only them, so you don't have all of it here. So before we can start using it though, we need to configure a couple things. First thing, we need to install root certificate. So in order to do that, go to Help, SSL proxying, and install Charles root certificate. So mine is already installed, so actually let me delete this one. So again, Help, SSL proxying, reset Charles root certificate. You don't have to do it. I'm just showing you that I'm resetting it so we can install it together. Should be reset now. Now if you're going to go again, Help, SSL proxying, install Charles root certificate, in the pop-up window you'll see the certificate and it has like this white X in a red circle, so that means the certificate is unrecognizable. So system doesn't really know what it is. In order to be able to use Charles Proxy, your system have to trust the certificate, so you need to install it. Hit install certificate, and over here you can choose current user, that's fine. Then click on place all certificates in the following store, and then hit browse and select trusted root certification authorities. Hit OK. You will see it right here showing up, and then next and finish. There will be a security warning, just hit OK. Import was successful. Now if we close this window and go ahead and bring the certificate up again, so go to Help, SSL proxy, and Charles root certificate, install Charles root certificate, click on it. Now once you install the certificate, you'll see there's no more X on it, and you can see that there is actual date of validity, so from 2024 to 2025, so it's issued for like a whole year. All right, so we have a certificate installed, that's great. You can see there's some stuff happening in the sequence, some communication. So to clear it out, you can hit this little broom, so clear the current session. And to stop capturing traffic for now, you can just say stop recording. Okay, so we're not recording anything yet. Now, the next thing after we installed root certificate, we need to enable SSL proxy. If there's no SSL proxy, you're not going to be able to go into the request. It's all going to be coded. You want it to be decoded. Okay, so go to Proxy tab at the top, go to SSL proxy settings, and over here, hit enable SSL proxy. There's an include. You can add. If you click add, you can add a specific host, so like a web page, specific port, but we're going to capture everything. And if you want to do, just to practice, just capture everything, you can put asterisk. So that means everything, and don't have to provide port. Port is going to be default. So hit OK. So now we will be capturing all of the traffic, and SSL will be used for all of the traffic that comes through. Okay, let's hit OK. And you can see now this little lock is locked. That means SSL is going. So if I hit on it, it's unlocked, no SSL. If I hit one more time, it is locked, so SSL is happening. Perfect. Now let's hit on start recording. So now anything that comes through my browser, the client, and goes to the server will actually go through the proxy first. So for example, if I'll go to this page, the internetherokuapp.com, and hit refresh. Actually, let me inspect it as well. Go to the network. Again, all of those links are going to be available. I'm refreshing the page. There's not a lot of XHR happening here, just some errors, but I can hit all and see everything that was sent and received, right? The whole thing. Okay, now if I'll go to Charles, I can see that all of this stuff is actually also here. There's also some other stuff happening. So how do I show only the Internet Heroku app? So I can just grab the title of the page, put in the filter, hit enter, and that's it. You see now nothing else, only Heroku app is here showing, right? And then you can go and look inside your requests and response. There's content, there are headers right here for the request, for the response. If we go, let's say, back to developer.mozilla.org, so let's refresh that too. And let's update the filter to the developer.mozilla.org. And we can see, for example, here's our who am I, right? The same one that we were looking at in browser. So who am I? We can click on overview. So this is request overview. We can click on content. Here are the headers. And if I'll go into JSON text right here, I can actually see the same JSON response from that request. So it's coming from the United States. You can see it right here. Okay, so our Charles proxy is ready and going. So what can we do next? One of the things how you can use it to slow down traffic. So some of the web pages or apps you might want to test on a slow internet to see how long it takes them to load. If it doesn't load, what kind of message it's going to show. And you can specify what you want to throttle, like not everything, just specific web pages, for example, or specific apps. So for example, let's do throttling. So we go to Proxy again, and in Proxy there is start throttling, right? So let's hit on that, and you can see there's a little turtle now. Now we probably want to see what is the speed and configure everything. So you can do that by again going to Proxy, Throttle settings. Let's open it up, and over here you can select. First of all, you need to enable it, and then you can select a specific page. So I'm going to remove this page, and let's say I'm going to throttle developer.mozilla.org, like this particular link. So let me grab that location. I'm going to add location. It's asking for protocol, so HTTPS, asking for host. So let's do developer.mozilla.org. Port, you can leave as a default. Let's put wildcard from each side. Okay, so developer.mozilla.org, anything that is developer.mozilla.org. And you can select the speed. So for example, I can say 56 kilobit per second modem, like really slow. And let's put one download and one upload. Hit OK. Now you can see the turtle is running. So that ZZ green turtle, that means the throttle is happening. So if I'll go and refresh the page now, you can see the request is pending and it's loading. It's gonna be really slow because we brought down the speed down to 1 kilobit, right? It's barely loading. One more time. Pending. I think if I like clear everything out, if I'll clear all the storage, all the cookies, it's not might even load. It's just going to be so slow getting data that you're going to get like 404 back. Let's do *amazon.com asterisk, or actually let's do all Amazon. Amazon asterisk, okay. So 5 kilobits download, 5 upload, okay. You can see the throttling is on. So go into the Amazon webpage and refresh it, reload it. All right, so here we go. It's barely anything happens in the console. Usually you'll have like hundreds of those if you select all files on Amazon, scripts, documents, images. The console going to be full here. Now it's barely moving. And most likely it's going to hang, right? So let's say if you're dealing with testing application on your phone and you throttle, okay, you can see it went down, can't be reached. So if you throttle the app on your phone, you can see what actually happens is if your internet's too slow and your app requires internet, what kind of error will it show to the user? Is it proper error? Does the user know what to do if the internet speed is too slow, and so on. Okay, so this is with throttling. So the next thing we're gonna look into, I'm gonna turn off throttle settings, just disable it. Okay. The next thing we're gonna look into adding breakpoints and analyzing JSON, right? So let's do MDN. So working with JSON, so I'm going to developer.mozilla.org. Okay, let me grab this part of the link, put it as a filter, clear everything out. We're recording. Okay, so let me refresh this. And let's get into who am I, right? So if you're dealing with a mobile app, again, you will see similar request response, right, happening between your device and server. And you can go into the content of that response. You can go into JSON files and see the payloads, see if the data is coming back as correct, if locations are correct, whatever is set in there. And also you can right click and add breakpoints. So I can say, okay, there is actually check mark for a breakpoint, add it here, and there's some breakpoint settings. So there are some locations, so I'm going to remove all them from here. I just want one for now. So add breakpoint for this. Okay, it's check mark. You can see now the breakpoints is set. It's enabled. You can see this right here. Now if I'll go and refresh the page, what will happen, and immediately I get a pop-up. So you see session. not the structure, and not the whole pages, right? But in the session, in the sequence, it stopped right here with the breakpoint, and it says, okay, so we're sending this request to the who am I. Do you want to add anything or change? No, let's not do that. Let's just execute it. Immediately after the request, the server sends a response. I think this is still a request, so there was a double request send. Okay, let's execute again. Okay, so we have a response now. You can see there's a response tab. Now in the response, we can go to JSON and see, okay, we're getting back United States. So let's say update this to, let's say, Japan, right? And I'm not sure what the country is. So for Japan, probably JP, and execute it. Okay, now we can see, if we go to the latest who am I, that Japan was received in the response. Same thing here on the actual web page. If we go to the capture traffic here, let's do fetch XHR. So the last who am I think this is the one. And we'll look in the response. So browser actually thinks, okay, it is Japan, right? So that might be not so obvious, right? So what happened here, because, okay, we have to open a network tab. We have to go within the response and find the value. Okay, might not be that obvious. But let's say, for example, if we're on the web page like the Internet Heroku app, and let's add this filter to Charles. So I'm gonna now stop the breakpoints, go to Proxy, breakpoint settings. So let me actually delete this. Okay. Clear out session, close the breakpoints. Okay. I'm gonna add the filter for the Internet Heroku app. Let me refresh the page. Comes up right here. So all of this communication is captured. So let's say I will add a breakpoint where we get the actual HTML with all the information. Let me see. Yeah, it's right here. I think on the login. Yeah. So the password, username, text. So I'm going to add a breakpoint on the login pass. Right. So right click it. Breakpoints. It's check marked. I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, it's refreshed, and here's our breakpoint coming up. So we're going to execute the request as is, and then in the response, go to edit response, and let's go to HTML. Now you can see the default text is login page here, but I can go to the response and let's find the text. So here it is. Instead of login page, I'm going to say, hi, it is Charles. And for all of this long text, this is where you get to the web page, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say sub to alexusadays. Okay, let's execute it. And let's take a look at our page. So you can see all the values that we're providing in Charles Proxy are now here, right? And that's what user going to get back. That's what client is getting back. Okay, so that's it. That's all the information with Charles Proxy. Now, when using it with a mobile device, on a mobile device, you will have to go and enable Proxy and provide the Proxy IP address that Charles is using. So if you grab it here, it's visible. Or let's say you can go help SL proxying, install Charles root certificate on a mobile device or remote browser. You will have it pop up like this, and it will provide your proxy IP address that you want to provide on a device. So go to device settings, choose proxy, provide this IP address, and then go to this web page to install the certificate. I'll add some also additional resources on how to enable it on the mobile devices, but essentially the same way how we capturing traffic and editing it right now in the web browser, you can do it on the mobile devices, both Android and iOS. Okay, so this was Alex USA Days. Thanks for watching and bye bye.